Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, I've been saying for a while now that if they start putting taxes up in Scotland, people will leave because the ones they're targeting are the ones best able to move. They're the professionals. They're the ones that can take their transferable skills and move south to England in order to, save a lot of tax. It's no skin off their nose whether they perform their miracles, whatever it is that they do, north or south of the border. But it does make a difference, not just to them, of course, because they'll earn more money south if they're not being taxed as much. But also, that tax loss to the Scottish economy will be significant, as in very, very significant if a lot of them go. Well, I'm not the only one who's saying this now. Kate Forbes has come out and she's saying exactly the same thing. So either she's watching my videos, which I do hope so, but I'm not so narcissistic as to think that's the case. I'm thinking more along the lines of it was bleeding obvious. And she's just seen what I've seen and what many other people can see. If you're going to start taxing people, people will move. It's not hard. Anyway, we'll take a look at this, see what Kate says, and see, let's just see how right it seems I was. Here goes. So, McJobby's tax hikes will make workers decamp to England as Kate Forbes piles on the pressure on her old rival. I'm looking forward to this. I think this Kate Forbes business, the Kate Forbes and the Grand Mufti, will actually come to blows. Not physical, but I think it's going to be the fight of the century. I think this is it. I believe the starting gun has been fired. I think she's making her manoeuvres now. She wants to become the leader. She knows she's got to become the leader. Many people in the party are now wanting her to become the leader. And of course, every time she criticises him, it's seen as a direct attack. And this, of course, is where he's very weak, because she's saying the bleeding obvious, the truth, the obvious truth, that if you tax people, they'll run to the hills. By hills, she means England. The First Minister is considering hiking up taxes again for the middle classes, but he's been warned by his former SNP leadership contender that this could make Scots abandon the country for England. Guarantee it will. Absolutely will. Hamza Yousaf's middle-class tax hike will cause some better-paid Scots to decamp to England, it has been claimed. The old rival ratcheted up pressure on the First Minister, and it's been reported that he is going to go ahead with plans to introduce a new tax band forcing those who earn between 75 and 125,000 to pay more tax. These are the people that you desperately need in the country. They are the professionals. They are, your doctors, your dentists, your computer programmers, your company directors. They're that sort of people. They're that level. They're the educated people who are earning the better wages. You start taxing them like that and they leave, and what happens? First of all, you lose your entire tax base from that group. Now, it's a big cohort in terms of actual payment of tax. But also, you're losing all those skills, all that knowledge. It's a brain drain. And your precious little brains at the moment in the SNP, you don't want to be losing any out of the country. And of course, this will actually have an impact on everyone else, because if all of a sudden, dentists and whatever go down, your dentist is already in deep, deep doo-doo. So that's going to be even worse. But all the other skills that go just makes everything worse. But anyway, this has been caveated with stark warnings from the opposition critics, who have pointed out that he will make Scotland even less an appealing place to live. It's already the highest tax part of the UK, with anyone earning over 27,500 paying more tax than their English counterparts. Former Finance Secretary Kate Forbes has even warned that increasing income tax on middle-class Scots could backfire on the public purse. She claimed that this risked reducing revenues brought in by the Scottish Government. It doesn't risk it, it's absolute certainty. It's an absolute certainty. And this is, of course, the example of, I always talk about the Laffer curve, where as you increase, if you increase taxes, people take more and more extreme amendments to try and reduce their tax take. And in the easiest case here is to simply move south of the border. So they not only don't get the uplift, they don't actually get the base point of tax up until that point as well. So it's a massive loss. And so the net result is, by putting up the tax, you get a massive reduction in tax take. Any idiot can see it. Not any idiot, obviously. Most idiots can see it. There's some idiots for whom they are even so stupid, even in the level of idiot, they can't see it. Unfortunately, they are your elected officials. Anyway, those earning a £50,000 salary pay almost £1,500 per year extra in tax over their English counterparts. If a new tax band is introduced, the likes of head teachers, top cops and NHS consultants could be more than £3,000 worse off if they lived in England. I mean. I said it was nearly 4,000. I did trim it down. It's top of my head, 3,650 or something like that. But that's if you're at the top end. If you're at the 125,410, you're £3,600 over that worse off. Now, it's money that you shouldn't have to pay. It's your money. You're already paying a lot of tax on it. Why should you be taxed even more for success? You're being taxed because you've worked harder. You're being taxed because you've bothered to get yourself qualified. You've bothered to improve yourself, and they're taxing you for it. It's a disincentive, isn't it? Finance Secretary and IQ of 86, Shona Robinson, is facing up to $1.5 billion budget black hole this year. We know it's going to be 2. And has already admitted that savage cuts will have to be made in every department except independence. Already, almost £30 million has been removed from the mental health sector, and more cuts are expected. Although £30 million from the mental health sector, but £35 million has been ring-fenced for the foreign embassies. So, phew. Thank heavens for that. The SNP also need to fund a council tax freeze, which it promised at its conference. It didn't promise at its conference. The idiot in charge promised at the conference because he had feck all else in his speech. And you could see them all, oh God, no. What do you do? Morons. Anyway, this is costing potentially another £1 billion over and above the money that they say is already in the black hole. As council demand the money to help them fill their own struggling coffers, it's expected that Miss Robinson will announce a new 44% rate charged on income between 75 and 125, with the aim of generating an extra 200 million a year. And if it generates 200 million a year, I will eat my hat, because I think it will actually generate a loss. I believe a lot of people will go, and it won't generate anywhere even close to 200 million a year. Nowhere close. She lives in cloud cuckoo land. She lives in the sort of place where morons inhabit. Say no more. This figure has been disputed. There we go. This figure has been disputed by economists, of course, at the Fraser of Allender Institute, who said that this failed to take into account behavioural changes and would only generate about 56 million next year. I don't think it will even then. I think that more people will leave than they're assuming, and with them, not only not getting the rise, but also getting the base tax taken as well, it's going to be a loss. I think the actual tax take will reduce. Workers could move to England and also reduce their tax bill by increasing their payments into their pension plans. And also, if you're one of the bosses and that, you just reduce your earnings. I mean, one of the best ways, and it's time again, chaps, pay attention at the back. If you do have your own company, and I'm sure most of you do this anyway if you do, but all you do is pay yourself what the maximum allowance is on on income tax, which is about £1,047 a month. Just pay yourself £1,047 a month. There you go. And you don't pay any tax and any national insurance. And if you use the national insurance allowance right, your company doesn't pay any national insurance either. So you're getting £1,047 a month tax-free, as you know. Then all you do is just pay yourself £50,000 a year as a dividend. And you pay 8% tax on that. So £4,000 in tax plus, so 62,000. You got £1,000 allowance this year, so 63,500 pounds income, £4,000 tax. Bada bing, easy, isn't it? And that's the end of this PSA. Miss Forbes was asked about this plan by ITV Border's representing Border television programme and said, I personally don't think that it delivers the additional public revenue, not by a long chalk, and I honestly think it'll be a loss. She said it's very difficult to protect against behavioural change when it comes to increasing tax. Thus, we have the Laffer curve, as mentioned. We already have significantly increased income tax rates and bans here in Scotland, and therefore I think we have to be very careful about ultimately reducing public revenue with what we do with our rates and bans. And should England, which next year it can start reducing rates, it can start increasing bans to give a bigger allowance, that will only encourage more people to register south and put more companies as southern registered companies, reducing the tax take massively. And that has got to be a big worry. But of course, that's what happens when you let the likes of Shona Robinson run your finances. Bing! She was later asked if people would leave Scotland for England if their tax was increased, to which she said, it could be that they don't come here in the first place. And the idea was lambasted on social media, with Tory peer Lord Frost claiming that higher income tax was always going to be what happened when the issue was devolved. He said it was always a poor idea to give the Scottish Government the power to vary income tax. It was only ever to go one way, up. And of course, he's right. Anyway, round off for the day, because that's probably my last video of the day. But we'll round off here, finish the video. So we got the end of that video, and it just goes to show that I was right. People will move, because it's obvious that they will. I can see it. Kate can see it. I'm sure 99% of you can see it. But it just goes to show that the idiots in the SNP just can't see it. They just lack that foresight. They are too stupid. Why are they in charge? They are literally too stupid to see it. Oh well, never mind. They'll find out, won't they? The only trouble is, of course, all that lack of money as everyone buggers off and decamps, as they call it, back to England, is there's going to be a massive shortfall, which means even more cuts in services. I think the only way then is for, the whole thing has to collapse and it has to be run from Westminster again. They're going to bring this on themselves because of their own ineptitude. It's a case now. It's a race, isn't it? It's a race. Which comes first? The next Holyrood election, or complete and utter collapse of the Holyrood Parliament? I wouldn't like to place me bet. Anyway, I shall stop there. As I say, it is the last video of the day, short of any kind of emergency. I might be a little flash video or something if something emerges, but other than that, thank you very much for watching today. I hope you have a great evening. I'm going to go and pour myself a very nice glass of wine. At the time I'm doing this, it's just gone 3 o'clock, maybe a bit early. Might run up the shop first, walk the dog, and then pour myself a very nice glass of wine. Otherwise I'll be lollygagging at 5:30 or so when my wife comes in. Don't like to be drunk when my wife comes in. She gives me a look. You know the look? I don't know if you can. My wife's got the ability. She's got that thing. It's a Scottish thing, I think, because her father does it. And it's the one eyebrow can raise. I can't do it. But she can just look at me and raise one single eyebrow. And in there, a whole conversation lies. So I won't do it. Thanks very much. And I'll see you all tomorrow. And we'll carry on ripping them a new one. It's Friday tomorrow. Excellent. Bye.